Hi there, my name is Becc. Welcome back to my channel. This video is a highly requested video about a day in my life. It's not your typical day in the life in that I'm going to just kind of talk you through it and also probably, if I can, share some clips or photos with you. I hope that you find this interesting as it was requested by a lot of people and I feel a little awkward talking about myself. But my intention and my hope is that maybe it helps you to hear about living with sensitivity and living in a way that is conducive to healing. Like, that's what my life had to become. It's interesting. I want to talk about the morning, but to talk about the morning I have to talk about the evening. The reason for that is when I wake up in the morning, often, not every day, but often, I can wake up in a state where sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm here in this life and I have to reacclimatize to my physical body and my physical kind of life. It can feel like there isn't a difference between the dream and this life sometimes. So that's what I meant about the evening. So talking about the evening. So when I wake up, I try to remember to really breathe and really start to feel with my senses. So I'll try to just take notice of the sheet, like the feeling of the sheet against my hand, or the sounds around me, though I have earplugs in because this is the next part, is I'm a really light sleeper, so and sensitive, so I have an eye mask and earplugs, and yeah, so I'm usually just lying there for a little bit. And also that Jingle's my cat that you might hear, because I was about to talk about my cats. He's scratching. But when I wake up, I cuddle my cats for a little bit often, and then it's hard to get up. It's hard to get out of bed when they're being so cute. But sometimes you just gotta do it. And then when I take my earplugs out, when I start to sit up, I take a very conscious breath exactly as I do it, and I time it in a way so that when the earplug comes out, I can hear my breath, and then I bring my attention to my breath. And the reason for that is that I'm very clairaudient and sensitive to sound, and if I hear harsh noises when I first am waking up in the morning, it just can make like a physical pain in my energy and in my body. I have some problems with just being very sensitive to sound, which does make you clairaudient, but makes it difficult to be physical sometimes. So that's why I focus on my breath, and I just figured out that was something I could do to always, no matter what's happening out there, my attention, my consciousness is focused on my breath, which is always a smooth and okay sound. It also obviously connects me to me even more, and to here and now even more. I do a similar thing when I take my eye mask off. I have to take it off gradually. When I take it off, very gradually, I've got my eyes closed still, and I just try to sit and let my eyes behind my lids adjust to the light difference, and then wait a little bit, and then I very gradually open my eyes. And sometimes I'll put my hands across my eyes like this, so some of the light's still blocked. And then I'll be gradually opening my eyes until I'm moving my hands away. And again, that's just because I found that my sensory system is just very affected when I first wake up and in general, so that really helps. So yeah, I recommend that if you're a sensitive person, especially if you have sensory processing disorder as well, which can be an extension of those things. Try that. So yeah, then I get up and wash my face, and this is the other thing. I thought that following me around all day would be really boring for you guys because you know, I just go and wash my face and clean my teeth, and then I have to go feed my cats because they're meowing at me at that point. So I go downstairs and I give them food, and I also drink a ton of water as well. because I have what's called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. My autonomic system is a little bit oversensitive, a little bit wonky, so I can get a high heart rate, especially in the mornings. It's probably the worst, so I drink like 500 milliliters of water at least when I first get up, and that soothes that problem. Yeah, feed my cats, come back upstairs, and this is where I do my healing stuff in the morning, or my centering stuff. I feed the cats first because if I don't, they will just keep meowing at me while I'm trying to meditate. So yeah, I come back up and basically I get my yoga mat out and I sit and connect to my heart. I also have a mat, it's called a earthing mat, that you plug into the power outlet, and it plugs into, or it's connecting to the grounding aspect, the grounded aspect of your electrical system. And the idea is that the coherent neutralizing energy from the earth, the grounded energy from the earth and the grounding, is now conducted through this mat. So I sit on the mat there, and that's because coherent energy, not scattered particles, but smooth waves of energy, smooth diffusing energy, is what's really helpful for us, and that's what the earth produces, and that's why people feel better in nature a lot of the time. Whereas electrical systems and things like that, they have this very scattered pattern, and it makes us scattered in our energy. So I found that this was a good thing I'm trying. So I sit on my mats and close my eyes, and usually I will connect to my heart. I'll have an intention, connect to my heart, connect to my higher self, both. I invite my spirit guides to connect with me and support me. And for a few moments there, I'm usually just trying to breathe and get my mind to be a bit more still, and feel my heart and move my consciousness from my mind to my heart, which is a very real thing that is happening. Your energy is often up here. We can move it into this position here and then live from our heart. That's what we're really doing. That's why there's a wisdom in the heart, and people who live from the heart are really anchoring into a different place, to your higher self. This is the doorway for your higher self. So I connect to my heart, and often I'm just following the breath, and I'm just breathing, and I'm trying to ground. If I had one of those strong dreams, I do need to really do all I can to make sure that I'm here. So following the breath, breathing, it's very intuitive. Sometimes I have too much noise in my mind, or I'm feeling that really ungrounded, dreamy feeling. So sometimes what helps more then is to do more of a movement meditation, where I intuitively just move the body. Sometimes I'll be sitting cross-legged and I'll just kind of move like this. I just let my body move. You're letting your higher self and your energy move how it wants to. Sometimes I will get up and do a kind of dance. It's like, kind of looks like qigong, kind of shamanic movements. That's coming from some past lives that I've had, where I learned this dance as a shaman. We would do these dances, and my body remembers it. My body really remembers it. And when I do those dances, you're moving your energy, you're transforming stuck blockages or thoughts, and it helps to still the mind. If you have an active mind, I really recommend movement meditation, at least at first. Often I do that first, and then I come back to sitting cross-legged and being more still. Yeah, so then I try to breathe and move around, connecting to my spirit. I let my higher self take over in these mornings. So sometimes my higher self will tell me to sit down and breathe more, or sometimes my guides will come through me and do light language. I do light language shamanic songs that sound really, really magical, and it's very interesting that the body remembers, like it's in your DNA, these past lives that you've had. I'm not doing it. The sounds that I make, I can't do it if I'm not in that right state where I'm integrated with my guide who's from that past life and channeling him in an embodied way. So yeah, I move and I do these light language songs. Sometimes the light language will and the movement will stimulate emotional release. So I need to let that move through me. My guides will often be with me saying, okay, you're going to feel a sadness now, or you're going to feel an anger now, or there's a tightness here, or move your arm like this, because I can hear them and see them as well. So it's very intuitive, and it looks different each day, a little bit different each day. The length of time is often different. It depends what needs to be moved. Usually at least like 15 minutes. Very occasionally, if I'm running late, I have to do like 10 minutes, and then usually I'll come back later to do a better job of it. Yeah, and so I just try to listen to my spirit and move. And then I have some particular very gentle yoga movements that I always do as well, just to support my physical body for about 20 minutes sometimes. Yeah, as I said, it ranges. And I should say, like, in that morning time, it depends what I have on. If I have a client like in that morning, then I'll just move into that. But if I have nothing on that day, and I do have particular days where I have nothing on, so that I can do more healing, I will stay with my spirit and I will do some healing stuff. If there's I had a nightmare, I will have to work with that emotion, and I will use mindfulness to listen and feel the sensation of the fear or whatever it is. If I have to journal, I will allow memories to come up and write them down to move that energy out of the system and to integrate better. I find that I do well with writing things. And often that healing process is in tandem with my guides. It looks like I'm sitting cross-legged on my bed and I'm crying or something, and my guides are telling me exactly what to do, and I'm using my higher self, and I'm kind of in a state of holding that pain or fear, being mindful, trying to be present. I'm here with this, and allowing my higher self to come in and move me. So sometimes it will want to move the body, sometimes I will have to cry a bit more. Your spirit knows how to heal you if you get out of the way. Your life force energy knows what to do. Yeah, and then often I will kind of close, whether I'm doing that or the other movement things, I'll close it all with just being still and breathing, doing like a proper bit of a meditation. Sometimes that will just be, sometimes, as you guys know, if you meditate, your mind's just blah and it's not good. Sometimes it's really good, more often it's really good. And my guides often, it's 50% of that meditating time is my guides talking to me about whatever messages I need for that day or things I've been struggling with. They'll give me insight. Sometimes then we go into more healing. They'll send me frequencies of energy that I needed. I practice in training with the higher self. I spoke about that in a different video called Spirit Weaving, if you want to look at that one. And sometimes I have to have a journal there because I get memories or very good notes from my guides that I want to remember. So I probably like pause, have one eye open and write it down and try to stay with what I was doing. And yeah, that's just my time to connect to my spirit. And sometimes in those mornings, I should say, before the sitting down and being still, my Kundalini energy, or your life force energy, becomes activated. When I'm doing that dance thing, I will start to, if I just allow, and I say allow my higher self, my body will start to shake in quite a violent, strong way, actually, if I allow it. And I'm not doing it, it's this movement that the body just does. I will get what I later learned are called bandha locks in my system, so you'll kind of feel your body clench, like in the perineum or in your hips or something, and then you start shaking more. And sometimes I will get kriyas, spontaneous kriyas, or mudras, which is movements or hand things like this will just happen. And I do my best to just allow that to come through. And the locks that happen are the energy, it always starts from the sort of the base of my, like my root chakra kind of area. And then it wants to come up, and then when it comes up past the pelvis, sometimes doing the perineum or your hip area, doing a lock, my guides explained, helps it to push the energy further up. And you really have to surrender to this process and trust in the process, which was a practice. Initially, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. You know, I understood it, but it is a weird thing. You have to get used to it, kind of. But yeah, and then I start shaking, and then the movement, it's like snake-like, like this, and then it goes really, really, really fast, and I probably look like I'm having a seizure, actually. And then it will come up, and often it comes up to my head, and my guides who are there, often they're explaining like, oh, you've got fear in your neck here, it needs to be transformed. So then my head will be really shaken around, or sometimes I just let it flow. Sometimes I'm doing this in a way where my feet are rooted into the ground in a very shamanic stance that I learned, so that it can all just wash through like this. Sometimes I am lying down. If I'm tired, it would be easier to lie down for it. You also have to keep your balance. And yeah, you have complete control over that energy. But if you let it go through, my guide said it's the burning of the fire. It's the fire of the Kundalini. And it's just burning away and clearing away anything that doesn't help you, doesn't serve you anymore, anything ready to be released. And afterwards, I usually feel more relaxed. Like it feels like you just went for a really good jog or something. You feel maybe a little bit endorphin-y, but more just like, oh, my body just feels less stressed. Yeah. So that's kind of how I'm doing those things, and that's how I'm healing. You know, people ask me, how did you heal from the severe trauma and stuff? That's a big part of it. That's probably the main part of it. Those morning times, working with my guides, doing exactly what they say to do, facing emotions with mindfulness, listening to myself, and letting my spirit take over, really letting higher self do what it needs to do. I learned from my guides that your life force energy can heal you. We just think that we have to figure it all out, and we don't have to figure everything out. Yeah, so I do that for a while. And then what else do I do? Then after all of that and I'm settled, I often have a notebook with me throughout the day and things, because I have days where I'm having loads of psychic downloads and I just have to write everything down, otherwise I won't forget all of it. I won't remember all of it. I also write down the wisdom that comes through from my guides and any personal insights that I have, which happens constantly through the day if I'm in a good enough space, because I'm very clairaudient and things. I could talk to my guides all day, and sometimes I'm doing that more than I'm getting things done. But yeah, so I write it. I have that notebook, and a good example is I've already filled one, and it's only been like 2 weeks. I'll get past life memories come up when they're relevant. I'll ask my guides questions throughout the day about something I'm thinking about, and they'll tell me. And I write it down if I feel like I want to, or it feels important. So then I go downstairs, I put on my sensory vest, if I can remember to. It's a pressure vest designed for people who have like sensory processing disorder or autism and things. It's the same idea as a weighted blanket, if you've heard of that, but it's something you zip, you put it on. It looks like a boat vest but flat, and you zip it up, and then you have this pump and it fills it with air, and that air makes it really tight, and so you're compressing your body and it feels like you're getting a hug, and that compression calms the nervous system. So I put that on and I wear that while I make my morning smoothie, which is something I do most mornings, and that contains all my supplements and things like zinc, and I also remember to take my iron and B12 and things as a vegan. That's what I do. Usually I put fruit and fruit, and like I have a greens powder and a protein powder in there. Hey guys, so this is for you guys who are watching the day in the life. This is an example of what happens. I was just sitting here, obviously I've just had a shower, my hair looks great. It's the sort of mid-morning time where I'm doing my smoothie, which you can see here. And I was watching some Tara Brach, who I love, and then I felt a presence next to me. And I saw this kind of soft purple light, and you just psychically get the feeling someone's trying to talk to me. So I paused it, and that's kind of what it's like, is I really am trying to, letting spirit lead your life, is spirit interrupts you. You know, spirit interrupts your plans, it doesn't matter, and when you choose spirit, it's worth it. But before that, I was, another example is I was writing, this is my notepad, and I was writing some stuff about peace, how I can cultivate peace. So I was thinking about higher purpose, and that's one of my dominant higher purpose energies, and making notes for myself about how to really live that. Oh, I already do a lot of this, but putting it into one block that I'll probably stick on my wall or something. So it says like peace, and then it says being now, meditation, light language, acceptance, healing magic, nature and earth, grounding. See? Anyway, so then I was sitting here, and then this divine feminine energy, soft purple energy was here. And so I paused everything, closed my video, put my smoothie down, and just listened, tried to connect, and it was the feminine being we would call Isis, and the energy that she was radiating onto me was this particular frequency that we had been practicing just like a week or so ago, when another time when Isis has started coming through, and it's just this really beautiful relaxation energy that I really need, and need to practice. And so she was like radiating, it felt like she was sitting next to me on the couch here, and then so I closed my eyes and just tried to connect, and in those moments I just tried to allow like whatever this spiritual initiation is, whatever it is, please occur, and it was just, I just practiced that frequency. As I've said before, I think it's kind of like your higher self entrainment. So your spirit guides embody certain frequencies that you need to entrain with. And then I sat there and felt, I could feel it radiating off her. So I just tried to bring my focus to it and feel it more. And then feeling it more, my focus makes it get stronger in me. And then I, at the same time, started getting memories about being in the temples in Egypt, the Isis kind of priestess place, and I got really emotional, because this is what happens, is it felt like getting back something that belongs to me, that had been missing. And also the memory, when you remember it, it's like getting back a piece of who you are. It's like, imagine if you didn't remember 5 years of your life, and then you got it back. That's what it is. We're supposed to remember in this really strong way, and when you remember, you're like, I can't believe I forgot, and I can't believe I forgot something so sacred and important and beautiful, and then it's just like this tears of happiness too, that it's back. And then I have some notes about what I was receiving in those moments. Here, basically that it's what I've needed, the color of the energy, so I can practice that frequency again later. The messages that they were giving me, which was about the divine feminine and returning, really embodying that, all of us needing to embody that now in a really strong way. My pen started running out, so I had to use my computer. Oh my gosh, you can't see it, but I made some typing notes. Yeah, and it says, I remember sitting in the temple and communing with the God, the feminine light, and it running through me, and that was one of my roles, was I was kind of like a vessel for the light, and that's how it worked in those priestess places. That's how it works, is merging with the divine, rather than like downloading information and going and then teaching that or whatever. Just giving yourself and merging with the divine and becoming the essence of the light. That was the service. When you would do that, it would run through me, and it was really beautiful. And I just remembered, and I was crying because I remembered being in the temple, and how that was my absolute everything I wanted and needed in that life. It was completed me. And so getting it back feels like another layer of completion. Just that peaceful time with the God Force, that's who I am. And that's why it was so meaningful. Yeah, and Isis was telling me about Egypt and about how the temples, we sort of embodied the love of Egypt. She kept saying the love of Egypt. It meant that we embody the love of Egypt. And yeah, and then she talked about the temple destruction and basically the overpowering masculine, how it became dominating and overpowering. And then I was seeing visions with this of like water and drowning, and which kind of moved into, I don't think it was that long after, in terms of cycles, after the sort of, there was like a fall in Egypt, and it felt like in this vision, in this teaching, and the overpowering masculine started to happen somewhere in there. And yeah, the drowning is because cycles forward, they used to drown witches and things like that, who are were kind of like the ancestors of that bloodline, of the priestesses of Egypt and Atlantis and Lemuria, which is what was before Egypt. Yeah, so that's what we're transforming anyway. So this is my life, sitting here, getting the feels, and then making a little video. I have a client soon, in a couple hours, I think. I got some stuff to put together, some emails to do, then I'm going to have a rest, which you can see. It's my giant pillows, which I love that giant one, it's really soft. And then I have to be down here because I'm melting because it's so hot. The air conditioner's downstairs. It's been like so hot. Yeah, and then I'll have a client later, which will be really beautiful. Cool. I just thought this would be interesting for you guys. Hope you're doing well.